Hey, Paul, do you remember when Watchtower used to celebrate birthdays?
Were we born yet? Well, I actually know some who actually still do.
Today we're going to look at Watchtower celebrated birthdays. We're going to show the Watchtower birthday book, created back in the days of Charles Taze Russell, and some of the interesting history involved with the book, and some of the signatures that we've seen in the past, and discuss when the Watchtower stopped celebrating birthdays.
So apparently, a birthday was important.
Gertrude W. Siebert wrote a lot of the poems in the early Watchtower magazines. She even had her own poetry books. She compiled a book in 1907, like the daily texts that Jehovah's Witnesses read today, of selections of Watchtower's devotional selections. And next to those selections were little areas where you could sign your name so that you could remember birthdays. We're going to look at some of those today.
Now, something on this, Jeff, that I find interesting is today they don't take contributions, more or less, of writings and submissions from just anybody like that. Was there a significance to her in the organization of why they let her do that? Because I believe she also, you were the one who told me this, didn't she contribute to the ideas or to the title of The Finished Mystery?
She did. So when Mariah Russell left the organization after their separation, Gertrude Siebert stepped in and had submitted a lot of the poems that were used in the towers. She also is the one who, if you read the Watchtower, or if you read the United States versus Rutherford trial transcript, you'll see that it was Gertrude Siebert who was the one who suggested that George Fisher and Clayton Woodworth write their respective portions of The Finished Mystery. And she's also the one who came up with the title for it as well.
So what do you think, what is your thoughts on why they respected her opinion so highly?
I think, from what I understand, she was married to someone who had a little bit of money. So I'm wondering if she was a good contributor to the society. This is just my speculation.
I know you can't prove all this stuff, but realistically, that's how sometimes things go. If somebody's contributing money, yeah, that was a fantastic idea. Right, we'll do it. So,
and he died. Her husband died early on, so she was pretty much a widow,
an eligible widow
at this time. Yeah. So,
now, I noticed the cover on that one. You showed me something earlier that had a birthday on it.
Yes.
This is Manna. This says Manna, but you had a leather book with birthday. Is that a separate book? Is it the same thing? What have you got there?
That's the same book. It's just, this is like a leather version of the same book. So it'd be more deluxe edition. They would have paid a little extra for this.
So the one that actually said "My Friends" and birthdays and all that, that was a paperback?
Same thing. That was hardcover, but you'll see the pattern is identical between the two.
But right? It was the same book.
Same exact book, yeah. Okay. They had multiple covers. This is what they used it for. They used it for a devotional and for birthday keeping. And this one even has deaths written inside the pages. Family members or close friends that had died, they wrote them into that. Now, I have a few of these Mannas, either physical print or I have photographs of them from various collectors. When I was preparing for this, I emailed several of them and asked them to take photos for me so I could use in this project. The next slide is a comparison of the Rutherford signatures that we have on file. If you remember our previous discussion, when I was flipping through the Manna, I was a little surprised to find that I had Rutherford's signature in the Manna. It's talking about Manna photos with a signature. So here's an example of one. So any Watchtower collector who you'll sometimes see these little photographs glued into the page with a signature. Oh, I just saw J.F. Rutherford in here.
You're kidding.
No, hold on.
Don't tell me you have his book.
No. Hey, oh yeah, here it is.
He autographed it.
Yep.
Did you know this?
No, I did not until now. Literally, this moment is the first I saw it, and I've looked through it before and never thought about it.
Is that matching his other?
Yeah, it does. It does. If you remember our discussion, some of the Rutherford signatures, one of them being in the Manna here, including his wife, Mary.
Okay. Okay.
And then the other ones are from the death threat letters, and another one from some of the George Fisher correspondence that we have, which is a future discussion.
That is that Charles Russell's T. Russell's signature right there that
Oh,
you locate on the bottom of the slide. Praise the Lord. Praise
it
ye
is.
the Lord.
It is his signature, but those were pre-printed in each of the Manna books.
Ah, gotcha.
So
Okay.
if you notice, the color of the ink is just the same as the lines around it. So
Okay.
it wasn't that he signed it, but she did paste. The owner of this particular book did paste in a little photo there of Charles Taze Russell.
Gotcha.
And if you remember the secret newspaper discussion we had, they had those little advertisements for Manna photos
Hmm.
in the Enterprise. So we'll see some of those coming up here. You'll see on this slide a lot of the famous people who worked in Brooklyn and Pittsburgh. You'll see Macmillan, Rockwell, Bonet, Stewart, Barber. A lot of these were the editors or authors of some of the Watchtower articles. And Stewart was even the editor of New Era Enterprise later on as well. And you can see some of the little photos there. There's Bonet. We saw him. He was the one who had the Watchtower Cemetery farm. In the Society's farm and cemetery near Pittsburgh has room as a future home for two capable truth sisters on Bible House terms. Same as at Bethel, and will be glad to hear from a mother and daughter or two sisters. He wants 2 or 3 truth brethren with good physical ability to join him on the Society's cemetery farm service on the Bible House terms and make the place their future home. And the photo, that's the grave of Russell with the farmhouse at the bottom. You'll see that is at the Watchtower Cemetery plot. So right at the, Russell's buried up on the hill, right at the bottom of the hill is where Bonet's home was. We'll talk about that in a couple of slides.
Which is now what everybody questions. Is that a Masonic temple?
Yeah, there's a Masonic temple right at the bottom of the hill now.
Where the farm used to be.
Where the farm used to be. But a couple of years before the pyramid is built there, that marked the grave sites, there's also that shot of Abbott sitting on the porch there. So that's a very important historical photograph there. I noticed that even some of them wrote Bethel right next to their names.
So this was their yearbook, their high school yearbook.
And it's interesting because for me, when you can see a photo and you can see a signature or something, it gives you a little feeling of closeness to the people that you're researching.
It's actually a good little tradition and thing to do. I'm sure the people love doing it. And rather than be a number, a publisher number, you're more of a person. You knew each other. I mean, you can't find any fault with something like that.
And then having some of those signatures, that the people that you've read about, they held this book in their hands. So that gives it a really close connection when you're looking at history, at least for me. I like when they take the little photos and they cut them out, kind of trace around the person, and they paste them in the book. The one down here in the corner of Hattie, it looks like. She's got the little book in her hand. I find that interesting.
And they were actually using their regular black and white photographs of them that they personal. It wasn't like a published list. They were using their personal photographs, right, cutting them and pasting them in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You could see on the pictures that you have the actual thickness, because remember how thick the paper was back then, the Kodak paper. So you could see which ones weren't a true copy and which ones are real. That's cool.
Even the children got involved in this one. You'll see some little children and their little photos next to their names printed there.
So they got to have a yearbook and celebrate birthdays.
Yeah, exactly. I think some of these photos are the same person. So the lady with the bonnet, I think she's one of those in the upper right corner. And also in the photo of the people on the couch there. But yeah, there's interesting things. I like some of these group photos. You can see them in action, discussing the Bible or sharing something with someone else. It's not a witnessing photo because you can see the lady in the white dress in the lower right corner. She's also in the group photo in the upper left corner. They're just having a Bible discussion there.
Which they used to do.
Yeah, exactly. And they had the liberty and the freedom to have differences of opinion, which we will get into in a future discussion.
And with that said, we had a private email of somebody saying we say that a lot. We're going to have another day, and asked us, are we actually going to have these discussions? Yes, we are. It's just the time to get around to doing each one. It's got to be in an order. So we're going to get to what we say. It's just a matter of time. There's just so much you could talk about with this organization and history that every time you go down one rabbit hole, you're going down 10 others. So
And sometimes,
patient.
yeah, and sometimes after we record something, we record one, then we go back and have to record again because we found a lot more information. So one of those examples was the one about the claim Johnson made of that Manna film, or of the Camino film. That was quite a fascinating discovery that had to be shared right out of the gate. Now, some of these people, I could see their photos in the Manna, and I could see their name. I was able to find them in the newspapers. It's interesting. You get a little bit more character of who these, or flavor of who these people were. I was thinking someday maybe I'll contact their family members, their descendants on Ancestry, and ask them if they want some of these scans of these photos.
Or if they have more.
Yeah.
That they want to share.
Of that
Now,
one?
It's very interesting. Today, if someone were to put a picture of that Jesus Christ in their Bible or in their Watchtower and go to a Kingdom Hall or be online and people saw that, how would the others react? I'll let you answer that. I'm not going to make a statement. How do you think others would react seeing that?
He's got a beard.
Yeah. Yeah. He can't get on the platform.
And he's got long hair.
Yeah. So it is interesting. Like you said, the freedom they had to worship and go about daily life even.
This is what I would call the rogues gallery, the various splinter groups. John A. Megason was a pilgrim speaker in the days of Charles Taze Russell. He would have been one of those that went off into a splinter group. I have his Bible.
Tell us about the Bible. Tell us a little bit about the Bible first. Now, knowing you, is that his personal one?
This is his personal Bible.
Okay.
So I think he had this Bible specially printed with some very extremely wide margins. I've never seen wide margins of a Bible like that before. And those are his handwritten notes through the entire Bible.
Jeff, do you have the original Gutenberg Bible?
No, but
it is so funny how you get this stuff. I mean, you've got the guy's original Bible with his handwritten notes. How did you stumble across this one?
This one was a gift from another collector. So after he passed away, it was specifically given to me.
I know, because
Yeah,
he did
yeah.
a lot of details on his comments of the scriptures. You're talking a lifetime of verse by verse that this guy dedicated his life to.
And this is important because in some of the other discussions, when it's questionable, what did they believe at a specific time?
Mm-hmm.
It's good to go and look at somebody's personal Bible notes to see, well, on the subject of the two witness rule, for example, what did they really think? And if he's got his handwritten notes, that's very helpful for the historical research.
Mm-hmm.
That's another discussion for another time. In researching this, it was very difficult to find out exactly when the Watchtower discarded birthdays.